So all of this came to me as an ongoing, unfolding process from that moment in the end of December of '03, when it suddenly dawned on me about a system based in homeopathic input that could change your life radically within an instant, a twinkling of an eye as it were, and which could then be a step toward constantly choosing life and learning to choose life. So with that, I began to think about how do you put all of this together in terms of providing a process which would bring us back to life from the path that we're on, which is the habitual path, and all the disturbances that come with that path. How do we change that so that we can think, feel, sense, and understand and recognize the inherent relationship between inside and outside, what's inner and what's outer, and that there's a direct relationship, which some can call a magical relationship, in that you can make what's inside outside. And that has gained a lot of currency recently with that production of that work called The Secret, which is not such a secret because it's been with us for thousands of years, and it's been written about, talked about, and described over millennia, and has been with us in America for over 100 years. And so it has a value, because what it's showing is that you can make what's inside outside. And we're upping it a notch and taking it a step further than they do, because we put it within the context of a spiritual direction and meaning and value in life about your spiritual unfoldment. The spiritual unfoldment is such that life becomes balanced, dynamic, centered, unburdened, quiet, happy, peaceful as you go on in doing this work, and that you become really a being who is really become a body of light, that you become a spiritual being, which then goes to fulfill what has been the prophecy for the West, which is the end of the murderous, warlike, vicious, cruel impulses that beset the world, so that the lion lies down with the lamb and we beat our swords into plowshares and we don't know war anymore, so that we change the will to power and the will to anger and cruelty and domination and subjugation to a will to love. So love becomes a significant force in life, and as King Solomon said, love is stronger than death. So we have a force that can conquer and defeat death. And it's been said by many personages along the way in the Western tradition that this is the case. John Donne said, "Death, thou shalt be defeated." Teilhard de Chardin in the 20th century said, "Death is the last enemy to be defeated." The master of Christianity came back and said, "Look, death can be overcome and we can come back to life." And it's been that way through the traditions. Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz, in an article that he wrote many years ago, said that for the Israelite tradition, the spiritual tradition, that death is a perversion and it's not a natural ending to life. And that life is to go on perpetually, and death is a perverse response, an abnormal response to the life force that's inherent in this world, that's always available to us. And we're going to attach ourselves to the life force. That's the purpose of doing this work. So we're attaching ourselves to the life force constantly. So the 1 minute life repair, this emergency state, yes or no phenomenon, and the imagery process are all the ways to attach ourselves to the life force consistently. And the way that I've organized that is to use the death force as the reminder to come back to life. You see, because the opposite of life is life, but the opposite of death is life. The opposite of death is life. So we use the death force to stimulate the life force. And we'll go into that in a little bit as it turns on the idea of this inner-outer relationship. That what you conceive inwardly, you will perceive, and as you conceive it and perceive it, you'll give birth. In the common parlance that's been used in this consciousness-raising processes that have taken hold in the country, it's said that your belief creates your experience, or your belief will manifest as your experience, which I think is more apt than belief creates experience, really. But what you conceive of, what your conceptions are in the inner form of consciousness, and you know the word conception means birth. It means to become pregnant. So you conceive, and we're always conceiving. So while we conceive, we will perceive, and there is a perceptual process that goes hand in glove with the conceptual process. And as you conceive, as we'll get to see, you're also perceiving, and that perception is through the senses. And so we're either seeing it, or hearing it, or touching it, or tasting it, or smelling it, using the five senses, the kinesthetic sense, the bodily sense, the proprioceptive sense, the muscular sense, to receive inwardly this conception. So what you conceive, you'll receive through a perception, you'll perceive it, and what you conceive and perceive, you'll birth. That goes through a gestation period inwardly, and then outwardly it manifests, and it becomes a birth in this life. Now, we're birthing all the time, and constantly we want to be constant creators, and we are creating all the time, as we're here made in the image and likeness of the Holy One, and as such, we're here to co-create and to emulate that process of constant creation. So this creativity is available to us, but we've been trained to create in a way that's destructive to us, because these creations are real. But so many of the creations that we manifest, that we conceive of, really turn on us and come back to haunt us and hurt us, and they become injurious to us. We want to turn that around, so what we conceive doesn't become a miscarriage. It becomes a normal birth, if you will. It becomes an active live birth that then has its own life and helps to foster your development in life and allow you to climb the ladder of self-mastery to reach the top of yourself. To climb the ladder of mastery, to reach the top of yourself, as my teacher of blessed memory described it. And when you reach the top of yourself, as she said, you can then leap across the abyss to walk on the waters of the heights with the one mind. And that's the unifying experience in which you become a unified being and bring that, what you learn, back to inform your life here and to help bring a therapeutic impulse into the world, to help heal the world from the course and direction that it's taking toward fragmentation, disorder, disharmony, and so on, and bring it back into a harmonious, ordered state. So we're really wayfarers in this process. We are pilgrims here, and it's a pilgrim's progress that we're doing. So you are enjoying the fruits of this pilgrim's progress and what you will gather from how we go through the process. And so we're going to focus in this period of time here on the 1-minute life repair. And later on we'll focus on the disemergency state and the yes or no phenomenon.